Hello, welcome back. Another week, another episode of Send Him Off. My name is Sam, and joining me, as always, is my ever-present podcasting partner, Alex. How you doing, mate?
Oh, mate, I'm all right. I'm shattered, but it's good to be recording again. It's good to be back recording. It feels like ages since the last one we did.
I know.
It actually hasn't, is it? Yeah, I know. It's only been a week, but we are not alone. Once again, second week in a row, we are not alone.
No, we're not.
Sam,
We have a guest with us. We've got actor, writer, and author, and also founder of the Crystal Palace Supporters Trust, Jim Piddock. How are you doing, Jim? Thank you very much for joining us.
I'm good, thanks. Yes, it was a while ago, that Supporters Trust thing. It was 1999, I think we founded it.
Well, I think there was a piece, like as we're recording now, there was a piece done on you. So I've been told. I did have a little look on BBC News, I think, or BBC Sport or something this week.
Yes, there was a piece. I did the Loro's predictions thing where I
exactly.
up against, and he had his best result he's ever had in his life. I think he just got really lucky, or he cheated off me, and then
it must have been luck. That's all it was.
Yeah, he trounced me, and I got 5 right. I got 5 out of 10 right, I think. So
that's not a bad score.
It's not bad at all. I think in the table I'm just above relegation zone, so a bit like Palace, really.
Well, as Swansea fans, we know all about that as well. Don't worry.
Exactly. There you go. No, it's I can't believe he scored. I mean, it was generally rubbish, and he trounced me. So I was humiliated.
Has he predicted a Liverpool loss yet? Because there was a stat where for the last 4 or 5 years, it was about 4 or 5 years, I think, where he just hadn't predicted a Liverpool loss once.
Wow.
So
wow.
We'll see. Before we dive in, I just want to get your thoughts on Palace's season so far. As a neutral, an outsider, you guys seem to be doing pretty well. Giant killers, really. What are your thoughts?
I think that this was always going to be a transition season, from Roy Hodgson to Patrick Vieira, from the oldest team in the Premier League, average-wise, to a much, much younger team. And full credit. I mean, I said to Steve Parish at the beginning of the season, I said, if we get 44 points, that's a great season. It's a great transition season. And we'll probably exceed that. We're definitely on target for that, I would say at least. I think it's been a fantastic season, primarily because the football has been so exciting to watch. So even when we've lost and given away points in the last few minutes of games, which we've done a lot, it's been just great to watch. It was Roy Hodgson did a fantastic job of stabilizing the ship, but we got into a bit of a sort of rut of survival football, and I think that this just brought a fresh energy in. And obviously, Patrick was supported by Dougie Freedman and Steve Parish with some great new buys. I mean, you'd have to look at what went on last summer and compare clubs in the Premier League, and you'd have to say Palace came out the best. I mean, I think we spent 50 million roughly, and we got so many good players. I mean, our 2 centre-backs who have been superb and are both very young. Well, Anderson's 24 or whatever, maybe a bit more. But Mark Gay, and we spent way less than Arsenal spent on Ben White. So that was an incredible piece of business. And I mean, a Michael Elise for 8 million is a joke. I mean, that's just a steal. And then even Will Hughes, coming from Watford. So it was a really great summer, and even before that, bringing in Eberechi Eze from QPR. So I think full credit to Dougie Freedman, who certainly knows how to spot a player, and to Patrick for being able to persuade them to come to Palace. So it's been a really good transition season, and I think if we can keep building on what we've done this year and add to the squad a bit, there's going to be a few kind of personnel changes in the summer because players are out of contract. I think it's the rosiest looking future I ever remember for the club.
Absolutely,
it is really exciting. Spot
on. Our years.
I was
switching a little bit of marker.
When we were like, we knew as soon as you crossed over the border to England to go and play for for Crystal Palace, we knew he'd be a success. I didn't think he'd get into the England team this soon. I'll be honest. We all knew he was going to get into the England team. We didn't think it'd be this soon, but
Is that Mark Gay or Gallagher?
No,
both.
Mark Gurhey.
Both, to be
Even Conor
honest.
Gallagher though.
Yeah.
Even Conor Gallagher, superb.
Yeah, I mean, what a loan signing that's been. I mean,
Yeah.
Christ. That's the problem, though, is you fall in love with loan signings. You get your heartbroken. You get your heartbroken.
We know all about that.
Yeah.
We know all about that.
Yeah.
But no, right. Should we get into it?
We shall. So we'll start what football means to me today with some quick fire questions. So we want from you, Jim, we want something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. So first of all, something old, your favorite retired football player, please.
Well, I think the best player to ever play for Crystal Palace was Ian Wright. Mark Bright will kill me for that. But he's heard me say it before. The two of them were sensational, and you know, it's a bit like me and Fred Willard in Best in Show. You don't, you know, the funny guy can't be funny without the straight man. So I would say that Mark was grotesquely underrated because he was such a great player for us. But I still think just on pure raw talent and flair, he would edge out Wilfried Zaha for me, Ian Wright.
Okay.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And Wilfried's not old, so he doesn't compete in this category anyway.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, well,
moving on to something new. Your favorite current football player?
Favorite current player, yeah.
I again, this is like fall in love with the lone player. I think Conor Gallagher has been an absolute revelation. I mean, I love Wilf, and he's been brilliant for Palace, but he's not new. He's now he's almost he is a veteran. He's 30 this year, I think. So I'd say Conor Gallagher for me. If we're talking about football and Crystal Palace, Conor Gallagher has been an absolute sensation this year.
I have a feeling that's going to lead us nicely on to something borrowed, which is your favorite loan player.
Oh, shit. All right. The second answer.
We will allow Wilf if you want to have Wilfried Zaha or something new. It is
we'll switch Wilf and now put Conor Gallagher in the favourite loan player borrowed. Yeah, he's borrowed. Yeah,
he is. Do you reckon you're getting back?
Although you know what, who qualify? Although he's now not borrowed, but he was borrowed at the beginning of the season, so it counts. Is Jean-Philippe Mateta?
Mateta, yes.
Okay, yes. There we are.
That's a great little signing. That was.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Great little
so he was borrowed.
Something made in your own. Maybe Gallagher will be next year. Who knows?
Oh God, oh
man. Finally, something blue. So the player you were sad to see leave the club.
Well, again, if it's going back historically,
you can go back as far as you like. It doesn't matter, however far you like.
Yeah, I would say losing Ian Wright to Arsenal was probably the toughest one to swallow. I mean, we lost players in administration for a song. I mean, Jose Font, who's gone on, he's playing. I think he's almost 40 and still playing in top level in France. That was a hell of a loss because he's a terrific player. And we lost Victor Moses during administration. But yeah, I would say that the thing that upset the apple cart the most was probably Ian going to Arsenal. Yeah.
Strong start. Strong start.
Very strong.
Let's
get the main questions. Yeah, this is the big one. Right. So the first question, we got 10 questions for you. The first one, earliest football memory. What was your earliest football memory?
The World Cup, 66. Okay. I wasn't really that into football until I was 10 years old. I'd played a little bit at school. I think we started playing when we were 8. I don't know why it was that late, but started playing when I was 8. And I was, I wasn't really into football. And then the World Cup happened in 66. And I watched it from the beginning, England's first game against Uruguay, 0-0. And I'm trying to remember if our TV was black and white. It's quite possible it was all in black and white. And I just completely fell in love with football during the course of that World Cup. And obviously England winning it was amazing. And I'll make a confession to you here. Right after that, I decided to support Manchester United because Bobby Charlton and they had George Best and Dennis Law at that point. And I supported them for about 6 months. And then I thought, this is ridiculous. I want to support a team that I can go see and that's near. So I had a choice between Palace, Millwall, or Charlton, really, and Palace won out.
And here we are.
Yeah, exactly. All these years later,
and here we are.
On the chest.
Let's figure out how many years that is. God, that's.
Well, I was thinking, you were 8 years old in '66.
I was 10 years old in '66.
10 years old, 50.
So I think I really probably supported Palace from 68 actually, probably. It was like really 67, 68. So yeah, that's 57 years or something like that. Christ, I'm old. We're gonna get through these.
I bet you're
gonna get through these 50 so years now. Yeah, we're gonna get through them.
Question 2. What has been the biggest high of your time as a football fan?
The biggest
high, the best moment.
Wow. I wasn't there, but a lot of Palace fans would say beating Liverpool 4-3 in the semi-final in 1990, because we'd lost 9-0 to them earlier in the season. And then we were supposed to get trounced by them again in the semi-final. And we came from behind to win. It's the most amazing game. If you've never watched it, find it. The semi-final Palace Liverpool 4-3. I mean, unbelievable game. So that would be a high. But the high for me was 2013, the playoff final, when Kevin Phillips scored the winner of the penalty, because I knew the owners very well by then, and they were friends, Chairman and Steve Parish and Steve Browett, Martin Long and Jeremy Hoskin, and they were 4 Palace fans, and they invested, I think 3 million each to get the club and the stadium, and we almost gone down to League One, Division 1 or whatever it was called now. And then the Championship, we got into the playoffs, and I just knew how much it meant, because it was basically a 120 million windfall. If we won that game, it would transfer the club's future, regardless of whether we stayed in the Premier League or not. It would transform the future of the club. And that game, it was just so nerve-wracking. And I was actually sitting with Eddie Izzard, who's a big Palace fan too. And it was almost impossible to watch after we'd gone 1-0 up in extra time. And that last 15, whatever it was, 20 minutes of hanging on to that 1-0 lead, with Joel Ward heading off the line in the last few seconds. I mean, I literally went into cardiac double rhythm, and I had to have an ablation operation about a few months later. Really? I was just, I mean, it wasn't just from that game. It was something that happened now and again.
I was thinking, whoa, this guy.
But I was literally just, I couldn't believe it. And I was crying at the end of it, because it was so emotional, having gone through everything that I've gone through as a Palace fan. And I just knew that it was the turning point. And it was. And the fact that we stayed in the Premier League since then is staggering to me. 9 seasons. And looking, obviously, I think we'll stay up this year, which is something I never usually say on April the 14th of any year. Obviously, we'll stay up this year. I'm usually like, I think we might have a chance now, or whatever. So, yeah, that was that moment at Wembley. And then I was fortunate enough to be invited to the players' party afterwards in a hotel in London. And I do remember quite a lot of it, even though I was extremely drunk. My nephew came with me, and I remember, holding the championship thing, and just it was an amazing high, and just wandering through the streets of London afterwards, at 2 a.m. or whatever, and people still celebrating.
I got to be honest, right? We've had quite a number of people, from within the world of football come and do this with us. And I think your football in high is probably the winner so far. Yeah, like yours is probably one of the best ones we've had.
Oh, well, it's modest compared to some people's. It's not winning the European, the Champions League or whatever, or the FA Cup, which we've been so close to. But that was just absolutely the height.
That's a good one. But will, your lowest point with Sam? Go on.
Yeah,
was it my question?
No, it's yours, isn't it? Yeah,
it's my question. Yeah, go on then. We've had your highest point. So will your lowest point be as impressive?
The season where we got relegated with 40-something points, I think it's still a record, the most number of points. I think there were 2 more teams I think it was 22 teams in the I don't even know if it was the Premier League by then. And we were 3 games left, and we were 9 points clear of Oldham. And they obviously had to win all their 3 games, and we had to lose our 3 games. And that's what happened. And the players had done a victory lap with 3 games to go because they thought they were safe. A victory lap. I mean, looking in hindsight, that has to be the stupidest thing the Palace team has ever done. A victory lap. And then 3 games later, we lost. In the last game of the season, we lost at Arsenal. I think Ian Wright scored against us. And we were relegated against all odds on goal difference with a record number of points. So that had to be an incredible low. And then I think there's another season when we were relegated in the last game of the season, playing away at Charlton, who are local rivals. And they scored, I think, right near the end. I mean, it was really, really in the last couple of minutes, and that sent us down. So that was pretty tough to take too.
Football's a cruel sport.
It is a very, I was going to say that. It really is a cruel sport.
So, Jim, I imagine you've been to Selhurst Park a fair few times, but I want to know what your best away day has been.
Gosh, best away day.
No holds barred. Yeah, you can say whatever.
One of the best, actually. One of the best, just that instantly jumps to mind. I mean, I've seen some fantastic wins. At Manchester United, very recently, we won, and that was an amazing day to actually go to Old Trafford and see us beat Manchester United. That was only a couple of seasons ago. That was damn good. But the one that just really jumps out at me, because it was such an extraordinary game, was away at Leicester at the old Filbert Street. And I hadn't seen Palace for a long while. And it was just after the Wright and Bright combination had come together. And Ian Wright was injured, I think. And so it was the first time I'd seen Mark Bright play. And it was away at Leicester. And I remember I went up on my own and sitting in the Palace section. And I was saying, God, that Mark Bright looks really good. And he said, wait till you see the other one with him. You know, he's, you know. And it was an amazing game. It ended up 4-4. It was a 4-4 draw. And I just remember it being a fantastic game, you know. So that's a tough one. I would say that jumped out at me immediately. But, you know, whether that trumps winning at Old Trafford, I don't know.
We take them all.
Choices, you know.
Yeah, I'm giving you I'm not committing to one or the other. I'm offering options. But that's yeah.
These are great stories as well. These are fantastic stories. I love them.
Your favorite question is?
Yes, right. So, what is on? I suppose by now you've probably done quite a bit and been around, you know, football and done all sorts of things. But what is, if there is anything left, on your football bucket list?
Wow. Well, I've scored a goal at Selhurst Park against a Crystal Palace former goalkeeper. So. That's gone. That's the time I had to hang up my boots. I was already in my 60s then, so I had to hang up my boots. God, my favorite. What was the question again? I got lost in.
You just enjoying the moment so much.
Yeah, I was.
What is on your football bucket list from right now?
Bucket list. That's right.
If there's anything left, if there's nothing left, say there's.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, absolutely. Palace winning a major trophy, no question. Yeah? No question. Okay. If we won the FA Cup, that would be fantastic. If we won the Premier League, that would be unrealistic. If we won the Champions League, that would be even more unrealistic. And I'd have to probably live to be 1,000. But yeah, so, winning a major trophy as opposed to the Zenith Data Systems trophy, which we have in our cabinet.
Does the FA Cup, just quickly, because you mentioned that, staying on this question, does the FA Cup still hold any weight for clubs like Swansea, Crystal Palace, you know, Sunderland?
I think so. Yeah, I think it holds more weight for clubs like Crystal Palace and Swansea than it does for Manchester United or Arsenal or Chelsea. Absolutely. I mean, for them, it's just another piece of silverware. I think it's the one possibly attainable major trophy that a club outside the top 6 can get, and that's even debatable now. You know, I mean, obviously Wigan did it relatively recently. Leicester won the league in the freakiest of seasons ever. So yeah, it can be done, but I think the FA Cup's clearly lost some of its luster. There's no question. And it will. I think they need to scrap the League Cup immediately, because it just, that I think devalued it from the start many years ago. And now all the Champions League and the European stuff and this and that has devalued it further. But I think that to have one major cup competition is enough. We're the only country in Europe, I think, that has two. And I just feel the League Cup really is kind of, that is kind of almost sad, watching those games in half-empty stadiums, if you're lucky, quarter, full, and teams playing their reserves, Premier League teams playing none of the regular starters and all that. I just feel like that's a waste of time. But maybe you'd argue, as a Swansea fan or for lower league fans, that's elitism, getting rid of the League Cup. But it doesn't do anything for me. It never did, to be honest. It never really did anything for me.
Well, obviously the League Cup gave us a major trophy, didn't it?
And not only that, it gave us a place in the Europa League. So
but now you've got it. Let's shut out the others. You've got it. You've got that. You've got that one in the bag.
We can slip out the back pocket.
That was before Man City won it every year. I know Liverpool won it
exactly.
this year, but
now we can scrap it. Now you've got that to claim. You've got it.
Now we've got it. Get rid. Get rid.
We've done our thing now.
There was a time where Birmingham won it a couple of years before us, didn't they? And there was a time where the League Cup was this competition where I feel with the Spurs won it. That's their last trophy. So.
No, I remember long before your time when Swindon beat Arsenal in the final with Don Rodgers, who ended up at Palace. That was the first time that you went, holy crap! That was they were third division and Arsenal were first division and top. One of the best first division teams. And that was incredible. As I can't even remember how old I was, but that was the first time we went, oh, this can actually happen. It wasn't just like an early round. They won the League Cup.
Yeah. Next question is my favorite.
It's Sam's favorite question now.
It's a double header. So firstly, who or what is your football guilty pleasure? And then secondly, who or what would you, if you had the chance, put in room 101, football room 101, and banish it forever?
Guilty pleasure.
This could be anything from VAR to the halftime stuff that whatever people do, or I think
I'll tell you, my guilty pleasure is going to watch teams, sort of lower league teams that I don't normally get to see. Actually, I like going to under 23 games, Palace under 23 games. I really enjoy that. I find that kind of less stressful. But I have a place in Fulham, and I always hope that Fulham and Brentford don't get promoted, because I loved going to see them.
You're going to start him off now.
I know, but they're both going to be in the Premier League next year, and that's sort of like that. Then it's not fun for me, and it's also harder to get tickets. But I used to stroll along to Fulham or Brentford and just go and watch games, when Palace weren't playing or whatever. And that's fun. And I've travelled across to watch Orient now and again. So that's a guilty pleasure, of watching teams I don't support and enjoying the game with no stress.
And it's not a bad idea, though, to be honest.
Oh, I love watching it. I think as a neutral, watching football is far more enjoyable. I mean, I have a friend who says he's older than me, and he's a lifelong Palace season ticket fan, and he leaves if Palace are 1-0 up. He leaves the stadium and comes back after the end of the game. He can't stand it. He says he actually hates watching Palace because it's so stressful, and he's convinced he's going to draw his last breath watching Palace because it's too stressful and his heart will not survive it. So if we get 1-0 up, I know wherever I am in the world, that my friend James is walking around Thornton Heath or Norwood Ponds somewhere, just checking his phone every so often because he cannot stand the stress of being in the stadium. I mean, the amount of money that he must have wasted on his season ticket is insane.
I was going to say, because there must have been games where Palace have gone 1-up, within the first 10 minutes.
Well, I think it's if they're 1-up by half time, then he's
oh, right.
gone.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, he's gone. I remember the playoff final at Cardiff when we beat West Ham. We went 1-0 up, and I turned around and he'd gone. He was in the concourse, pacing up and down in the concourse. Everybody else was there. All my friends, we got a whole group of us are gone, but James was gone. He's also someone that bets against Palace. He bets because it's an insurance, it's an emotional insurance scheme. So he always puts money. And this season he said, exactly. If they win,
if they lose, he's got money. Exactly. So there we are.
So he said he's actually lost quite a lot this season, and he's thrilled. Anyway, that didn't answer my question. Your question about 101. God, it's easy. It would be easy to say VAR. I would like to see VAR used more sparingly. I mean, I think it's being abused. In cricket, those replays are really fun and exciting, and they're so crystal clear. There's no doubt. I think they've got to figure out how to stop having people offside on a fingernail and things like that. It's really annoying, and in football it stops the flow of the game, and you can't celebrate goals. Given a choice to keep VAR or get rid of it, if it was a binary choice, no VAR or VAR, I'd say scrap VAR. Just simply because I think for every time justice is done, it's actually harmed the game in another way. And by the way, I think it all evens out. Referees' error, human error, it generally evens out. You can get seasons when you're more unlucky and referees screw up, and then other seasons where you get the benefit. But it's the same with VAR. You get seasons when you get all the decisions go against you, and you're like, how could you have made that decision? I mean, some of the penalty decisions are baffling. They're absolutely baffling. And the referee has made the right call, and then the VAR asks him
himself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then he goes and looks at the monitor and overrules himself when he shouldn't have. Actually, his first decision was correct. So given that choice, I would say a binary choice, given that I've been less than committed on a lot of my answers and giving you all A's or B choices, I would say VAR.
So that you put that in room 101.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. I'm going to give you another choice.
I was waiting for that.
I'm going to have moronic football hooliganism in I hate it. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it. I hate that more than people hate other teams. I can't stand it. It's moronic to me, and it always has been. I'm going to give you another one: racism and homophobia. Let's get rid of all that crap. But I still think some of football fans and even players are still in the dark ages, and we've got to stop that. It's got to stop, and football needs to lead the way. And I'm hoping that a football player, I think we're getting a handle on the racism in Britain, but it still rears its ugly head now and again. The homophobic thing, I think, is not under control yet. I think it's still an issue, and I think that most players are now totally comfortable if someone were to come out as gay in their changing room stuff. And I think that's important to get rid of all those ridiculous. I mean, Palace, had homophobic chants about Brighton, and it's wrong. It's wrong on all levels. And Robbie Rogers, who is an American footballer, I thought was so courageous. And it's easy for me to say because I'm not gay and I'm heterosexual, but it was easy for me to say that's brilliant that when he came out openly and played for LA Galaxy as an openly gay player. And when he first signed, I was there in his first game, and it was really moving. He got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And he always had the support of Galaxy fans. And I think that British UK fans have got to come out of the dark ages. And I've answered this question now 3-4 different ways.
That's fine.
They're all good answers.
But you're getting your money's You're getting your money's worth anyway.
Exactly.
You're getting your money's worth.
Exactly.
There's plenty of room in room 101. Alex, you want to take it away with
right, yeah,
the
my
next
turn.
one?
Question number 7, very general question. What does the game mean to you?
It's been a best friend my whole life since I fell in love with football. It's been a best friend.
Yeah.
It's been my best friend, you know. And baseball, when I first moved to the States, which was a long time ago, 40 something years ago, that became a friend too. It didn't become my best friend, but it became a very good friend. You know, I've sort of made changes in my life where I've been sort of fairly solitary and started anew in a new city on my own. And it was always a fallback. I played football till I still do now and again. And that was always a good friend. But being able to go and sit and watch football when I was a teenager, escape from all the problems I had at, you know, university, at school or whatever, and just go and watch football. It became like a friend. Yeah.
One answer.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's my favorite answer we've had on that question.
Me too.
2 left. I'm going to skip question 8, Al. We're running out of time. Question 9 then. Who do you think, Jim, will win the Premier League this season?
It's just one or two, isn't it? Toss a coin.
Yeah, exactly. Red or blue?
I think Liverpool are the more exciting. They looked better to me, so I'll go with Liverpool. I haven't even looked at what their run-ins are like, what the last run-ins, but so I think, given my history of football predictions recently, I'll say Liverpool, and if you're a betting person, put money on Man City.
There we are then. You did from the horse's mouth. Final question, number 10. Of all the memories we've spoken about, absolutely everything we've been through, what is your favourite football memory? Well, absolutely everything.
Just probably be repeating myself, but I'll give you just a different answer for a different answer.
Go on then.
In 1969, Palace got promoted to the first division, what was then for the first time ever in their history. And I went with my best friend from school, and my aunt took us, because I think we had to get permission to go. I was at a boarding school to leave school. And I just remember standing on the terraces, and it was an incredible experience. And I've got pictures from that day, and there isn't a blade of grass on the pitch. It was just, really? In those days, by the end of the season, it was just completely brown. And I've got pictures, I think, where there's literally one person left in the stadium cleaning up. I stayed that long to savor the memory.
Really?
And the players, there was a pitch invasion, everyone came on, and the players threw their, you know, shirts and stuff from the director's box area. And in those days, there was one stand, and it was 3 sides that were all open, you know, terracing. And yeah, I'm just giving you, because that Wembley thing in 2013 I told you about was obviously a huge one, but to give you a different answer, that was so impactful for me as a
must have been huge.
Yeah, pre-teen.
I thought you were gonna say you stayed and like you were there and you got a picture with the one blade of grass that was actually on the field. I thought that was what you were gonna say.
No, I've just got these terrible old pictures but they're great of that day, and at the empty stadium, and we were the last to leave. I think that would be an amazing memory. Yeah,
amazing. What a way to end it.
What a way to end it, Jim. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. I believe you've got a book out if you'd like to.
I will. I'll do a quick book promo. It's been #1, you know, on Amazon on movie industry books.
There we are.
Here it is. There we go.
With my pants down.
And Other Tales from a Life in Hollywood. It's a humor book. It's a humor book. It's a semi-memoir. It's very gossipy. And it has a bit of philosophy in it too, oddly. It has a search for family and a philosophy about life in it, because I'm old. I can do that now.
For those who are listening on Spotify, for those who aren't watching on YouTube, it's the book on the cover is, of course, with... Is it you on the cover? It must be you on the cover.
It is me on the cover with
his pants down, quite literally.
It's tasteful. Caught with my pants down, Other Tales from Life in Hollywood. All the proceeds, my proceeds from the book, going to 3 charities, including one for Ukrainian refugees, one for underprivileged kids in the US, one for underprivileged kids in South London, the Palace for Life Foundation. So yeah, all the money goes to charity. People seem to be loving it, football people particularly. There's a lot of football in there as well. So yeah, go out and buy it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a fun, easy beach read, and if you don't go to the beach, just read it at home or on the train.
Amazing. Read it wherever you fancy.
Yeah.
That is
Well, there we
superb. Brilliant.
It's
Amazing.
light,
So much,
light
Jim, for
reading,
joining us.
lots of gossip, and I'll tell you who is the biggest 4* word in Hollywood. There's a chapter.
Oh, really?
I reveal. I say I've worked with 10 A-listers. 9 I loved. 1 was a 4* word, and you can fill in the blanks. And see you next Tuesday. And so there you go. And that I reveal that. So there you go.
There's only one way to find out. Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Really enjoyed.
Thank you guys for listening. We're back next week. We're not quite sure.
Who knows? We never know. We never know.
We go where the wind takes us out, don't we?
Exactly.
Whatever. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your Easter weekend. Ta-ra. Bye.
Take care.